the go button.
Say hi to the video, Brian.
Oh, we are recording live. This is fun times for everybody. I said everybody back to back, but you didn't see it. In my head, there was a comma between the two everybody's. Therefore, it was grammatically correct.
Good job, buddy.
Welcome, Jeremy. I mean, Chris.
All right, thanks. One of the two.
Ready?
How do you suppose you pronounce Charles Simonyi?
Oh, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Simonyi.
It's got letters in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right. I'm ready to kick it off whenever you is.
This
Big
is the third
B.
episode, dude.
I know.
Boom. All right. We want to do this after the show?
Let's do it at the end of the show.
End of the show. For those of you...
I got the random generator ready to go.
Let me bring the ad copy up here. Hold on. I failed in my mission to have ad copy ready.
I mean, if you want to do it once we get going.
No. I got it. Let me get it ready.
I got a cool review today, you
I
guys.
got my ad reads here. I just want to say this because this isn't going to make it necessarily into the live or in the audio version of the show. But you see here a box. This is the Popcorn Hour A100.
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful little unit. Both Chris and I own them and use them extensively. And this one here is beautiful. In box. All shrink wrapped and pretty and beautiful and ready to go on your home theater systems and, of course, running Linux. It's going to sit over here. End of the show, we will be giving one away, assuming that you have registered in our YouTube chat.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel and are present. And I just wanted to make mention of that. Sitting over here.
Yeah, you still could because I'm not going to hit the random generator.
Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed yet, go and subscribe now. And no one will think any less of you for it.
Okay.
If you subscribe 3 times.
I am
no one
ready
will
whenever
think.
you are,
If
sir,
you
to
if
kick
you
off.
create 27 different YouTube accounts and subscribe, that doesn't really help us all that much. But what the heck? I'm not going to know, so
That's
feel
a good
free.
point, Brian.
That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
You're not eligible.
I know.
You've got like 3 alter egos in the chat room here just waiting to win a popcorn hour from yourself. Very nice.
All right, kick off the show already. I'm ready to be amazing.
I'm
on the
ready to
internet.
go. Let's get the audio recording, and I'm going to rock with this.
And the big video going.
That's going.
That's going.
Are you ready?
Give me the word when everything's recording.
Okay, audio is live. Good go.
And welcome everybody to the Computer Action Show, Season Uno, Episode Tres. My name is Brian. With me is Chris.
Hey there, Brian.
Well, hi, Chris.
In this day in computer history, we're recording this a little early, so it's September 10th. In 1948, Charles Simonyi. I'm sorry, I don't know the pronunciation.
Simonil?
Possibly.
Simonier?
I didn't want to use the
It's
word.
spelled
It's
Simon with a YL
Yeah.
at the end. So Simon and
Y-I at the
NyQuil
end. A
put
Y-I.
together.
Y-I.
Which really, Simon's one of the best video games ever, and NyQuil is one of the things that makes video games better. So the two together is pretty much amazing.
All right, so check this out.
So what did he do?
So he was born on September 10th, 1948, and he eventually became, not right away, Brian, but he eventually became the chief architect of Microsoft Word. He
Really?
moved to the United States from Hungary and went to the University of California, Berkeley. He took a job at the Xerox PARC in Palo Alto,
Nice.
where he worked on some of the very first WYSIWYG, Brian, that's what you see is what you get, word processing editors.
Thank you for describing that.
But they
to me.
never really went anywhere. He later took that, went to Microsoft, not the actual code, but the concepts. He went to Microsoft, and he integrated such theories into Microsoft Word and what was the precursor to Excel,
Whoa.
Multiplan.
Dude, I haven't heard the phrase multiplan in a long time.
Yeah, so this is the guy, and
That's the guy.
that was a few years ago today in computer history.
Thank you, Charles Simon NyQuil, to you, sir, for doing WYSIWYG work
NyQuil.
for Word and Multiplan. We appreciate
There you
it.
have it. So we got a ton of stuff in the show today. I mean, all right. So you've got an epic review.
This
of
is
Haiku.
gonna get kind of intense. I've got a lot of very strong opinions, and honestly, it's gonna go all over the map.
And I've got. I'm not gonna go too far with this because there's only about 100 million other people on the internet giving a review of this unit. But I've got kind of a unique perspective on the new Verizon MiFi.
Of course you do.
And I thought I'd talk about it briefly. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we're giving away a popcorn hour.
That's right. we
That's
are.
pretty exciting.
That's right.
But Brian, all of that is possible thanks to in large part to our sponsorship with GoDaddy.com.
That is an incredible point. This episode of Computer Action Show is sponsored by GoDaddy.com, the world's largest web host and domain registrar, which is the coolest word ever. It's got rar at the end. It's awesome.
And it's got domain in front of
Which,
it.
to start with, rar is like lions, the noise they make, and it's a compression format.
And you know what I like being?
All at the same time.
The master of a domain.
A
the
domain.
master of my
and
own domain.
If you are ready, let's say, to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has got you covered. Domain names as low as $1.99. That's cheaper than a burger. Plus world-class hosting with unlimited disk space and bandwidth, do-it-yourself website builders, dedicated servers, SSL certs, and so much more. Plus, as a listener of the Computer Action
That's
Show,
this very
enter
show.
promo code Linux, that's LINUX, and checkout, and save an additional 10% off your entire order.
I love that. And
Some restrictions may apply.
If you feel
See
like
site for
being-
details. Get your PC now. Go to .com.
Sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to
I had
walk all over
I had to
you.
get the legalese
You know, I've never
out
heard
of
you
the
do
way.
that read before, so I didn't know you were done.
Do you
I
like
apologize.
that? I know. I picked a different one.
Yeah.
What we do here is we have multiple different reads we could do for GoDaddy.
I just wanted to say,
we never
we
mix
also
it
have
up.
Linux 20 as a checkout code.
Oh, that's a good one.
If you use Linux 20, you save 20% off hosting. And
Here's the thing about that.
that
Wait.
reminds me.
Hold on. Shut up for a
All right,
second.
okay, go.
So if you use Linux 20, and I want to clear this up because I got
Be
a
a great
question about
episode.
this the last few weeks. It's 20% off of hosting forever. So it's not just like your first month, your setup fee. It's 20% off everything. That means if you got like some mega mammoth $100 hosting deal, that's you saving $20 a month forever.
You're welcome.
There you go.
I was going to say,
That's just because we like you.
on top of the MiFi review, I also am going to go a brief overview of the Jupiter Broadcasting Empire and how we do our server architecture, which a lot of it runs on GoDaddy servers through their hosting plan.
Whoa.
So that's how I was going to tie it.
Whoa. That's pretty much giving you guys the keys to the
All
kingdom
Brian,
right there.
We've got too much show to get
We got to
into.
get going.
We got to do
We got
this
stuff.
All right, Brian, let's do the news. Now you click stop on everything. Click stop on everything.
Dong.
I'm out of here.
That's
That's what we're doing it live.
Dong.
Sorry, I have a chat room. It's distracting.
Boy, howdy, is it distracting.
What did I do? I gave Jeremy the chat room. I'll never talk to him again.
Shush. Shush.
You ready to go?
Man, this Coca-Cola Classic sure is
I
tasty.
kind of like this burp. This just won't come up.
Yeah, you really do, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so give us the thumbsies when we're ready on both of those machines.
Okay.
What's new in the news this week?
All right, Brian. Well, the top story on the news docket for this week. I talked about it a little bit. I kind of had a rumor that I had uncovered and then was like, you know what, putting this in the news docket, Brian.
Oh,
and now
really?
that rumor has turned out to be true, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised. It's a little fancier than I originally thought. So today, as we're recording the Computer Action Show, Motorola has announced their new Android smartphone, and Motorola is really getting behind Android here. So this is a really
Dude,
interesting
they
development.
really are.
This is a great looking phone, and one of the things that I think is kind of particularly interesting about it is how they've tied in a lot of different social networking using their new interface they're laying on top of it called Blur. And it's
Blur.
the cute name is Moto Blur, but I'll just refer to it as Blur.
Blur.
And it's
Blur.
It's kind of a fancier, shinier dashboard where you
Hey,
have
Chris. Blur.
Blur. It's
Blur.
better than WebOS.
It's better than WebOS or Weebos, which sounds a lot like Weebelos.
So Blur is a kind of a fancy dashboard of widgets where you have all of your different social feeds and news feeds brought into one location. So it's a combination of Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, if you use all three of those.
Yeah.
Also RSS feeds, weather reports, all in one spot on your phone. So you turn on the screen, there's all of your latest social information. Now, some people that would never work because if it only covers like 2 lines from each.
For some people, this is true.
But anyways, it's a cool idea, and it's definitely very sharp looking, and I like to see the kind of efforts going in this direction because it's one of the areas I think WebOS is kind of strong right now is that kind of social networking integration. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
nice
that's
to bring
true.
that
That's
to
true.
Android.
Yeah. It looks good. I mean, the screenshots look great.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
it really does.
The new phone is called the Motorola CLIQ. That's CLIQ.
Yeah, that's hip.
Yeah.
It's hip because
That's
it
how you
doesn't-
know
it's,
they're hip.
It's misspelled, so you know it's awesome.
Here's the hard stats for the people that like to know the hardware. It's a 3G phone, so it's got a full 3G chipset. It's got a GPS in it, 5-megapixel camera, and there's not an official word on Wi-Fi. Gizmodo says no Wi-Fi, and Gadget says Wi-Fi. Now, I don't know. Gizmodo went and actually had their hands on it and said, "Oh, we didn't see Wi-Fi." I think maybe Engadget might have assumed Wi-Fi, but they also had their hands on it, so I'm not sure if it does have Wi-Fi at this point because it
Yeah.
came out just a couple of hours ago as at the recording
There's
of this
still
show.
a
We
lot of
don't know
questions.
yet.
Yeah.
It does have address book synchronization with your social networking, so if you have friends, like I have a surprising amount of friends on Facebook that put their phone number on their profile, and it can sync and pull that into your phone's
Yeah.
phone
Why do
book.
people do that?
Well, if you think about it, you and I are kind of the exception. We have our profile set to public.
Oh.
But everybody else
I
generally
guess
has it
I
set
never
to
even
private.
thought about making it private.
Yeah, but that's because we come from kind of like a Twitter.
Oh.
You know, a lot of people started at Facebook.
We are public personas, Chris.
Yeah.
That's the
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I think it's interesting. This is also very cool. The caller ID when somebody calls in shows, of course, their phone number, but also their social network picture profile, like if they've updated it. So you
Yep.
can automatically get the latest picture from their like Facebook page.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Okay, so Jeremy is pointing out that BDog64 in the chat room said that on the Motorola development page it does say it includes Wi-Fi.
Well, that's
so,
very nice.
So
I do like the good
Gizmodo
Wi-Fi.
screwed up.
What are you doing, Gizmodo?
A few other things that
They
are kind
must
of
have gotten
neat
distracted with all their Apple iPhone coverage that they did.
about posting over and over again. Steve Jobs.
Oh my
right?
gosh! Did you guys see Steve Jobs?
right?
He was walking on a stage, you guys.
Oh my
you
goodness.
Guys, you guys, he did walking. He did walking, and then they updated iPod. You guys,
ice cream.
there was. All right, hold on a second. We have to stop and talk about this. So, there was literally probably 10,000 news stories across the internet about how Steve Jobs likes ice
That's
cream.
because
I just don't care what sort of
because
creamy, cold,
people
fruity
wanna know
dessert
about his health
that
and
Steve Jobs likes.
people wanna know about his
No,
health.
I don't give a crap.
Although I thought vegans couldn't have milk.
If Bill Gates was like, "You guys, I'm not feeling that good," and he comes out later on and is having, I don't know, let's say a blackberry cobbler. Oh my gosh,
that
you
sounds
guys,
good.
Bill Gates eats. Oh, that does sound good actually. But I just don't want to know. I don't want to know. Not only do I not care, I actually don't want to know, because the moment you tell me what sort of desserty foods these special people eat, it's now stuck in my head.
Brian?
That is brain cells
Brian?
that I'll never get back.
Brian?
I'm stuck forever. I'm going to die.
That's lost
and,
capacity.
and the last time I breathe, the thing that's going to come out of my mouth is Steve Jobs like ice cream.
Brian, but you care if I tell you, right? Like if I call you up and I say, Brian, I like ice cream.
Well, yeah, I care if you like ice cream.
Okay. But so I'm not a special person then?
You're definitely not a special person.
Oh.
But it's cool that you like ice cream.
So just to wrap up this phone.
And I'm going to leave that disc hanging
Comes in
right
with built-in
there.
messaging to chat on the various social networks' actual instant messenger.
Yeah.
It also takes 24 frames per second video,
Yep.
which is very cool.
That's
and
very
it
nice.
comes with, I guess, I would call it a D-pad, but what do you call the thumb pad for like video game
I call it a
controllers?
D-pad.
Okay. It comes with, I don't think that's what they called it, but I don't remember what they called it. And
It's a little control
they really
pad.
want people to make video games for this device.
Of
I
course
don't know
they
what the
do.
status though is as far as 3D acceleration. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But you know what? What can you do?
Yeah,
So
you
in
know,
the
you know what
US
this is really reminding me of? Is this like the N900 from Nokia, except the Android version from Motorola? It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
kind
smaller,
of got
though.
it's got a similar form factor. You know, it's got the slide out sideways keyboard deal, so it's got the full QWERTY thumb keyboard. It's got, you know, it's pretty decent specs on it. It's got a nice looking screen. It's not huge or anything, but it's decent looking. And you know, they basically took a Linux based kind of sorta OS
Yeah.
and extended it with their own look and feel. And that's kind of what, you know, Nokia did.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at this and saying, you know what, the N900 is for people who just like awesome phones, and this one is for people who, for some reason or other, decide they have to stick to Android.
Yeah, I think
I don't know, that's just how it
feel
feels
like
to me.
over the last few months there's been more energy around Android. But
Well, of course there has.
all right, so it's been brought up in the chat room, and this is a perfect time to cover it. Is there's starting to become more and more
Yeah.
Android devices. One of them that's been covered is the HTC Hero. We've talked about it here on this show. It's looking like a great device. So we'll just do a really quick coverage. And I really think the Android smartphone market is starting to actually produce some actually desirable phones.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it is.
and I know a lot of you like the G1. It's just not Chris. It's just not for Chris. It's not really for Brian
No,
either.
it's not fast enough. It's too
slow.
pokey.
It's pokey.
It's too pokey.
So, looking at this guy, looking at the CLIQ versus the HTC Hero, which I think is probably one of the shiniest up-and-comers, they're both Android-based. They both have UI
know.
customizations. The HTC Hero has more of HTC Touch Flow, they call it.
Yeah. It's more HTC
The
style.
CLIQ is going to be only on T-Mobile in the U.S., whereas the Hero is Sprint, but rumors are also it's going to be coming out for Verizon.
Yep.
We don't have a release date or price for the CLIQ yet. The HTC Hero 180 on October 11th. Wait, it's already out. Nice.
Of last year.
No, this is 2009.
Oh, of 2011. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha.
October 11th of 2009.
Sorry. I was
out.
I was looking at the Dream over there.
It's not October yet. Thank you. God. It's doing a podcast, everybody.
So,
Check these out.
information.
They all
right, here
have
we go.
520. So I'm looking at all of the current Android devices. They all have a 528 megahertz.
There are some different processors in there, but
They're just different manufacturers, which have different features. 'Cause
Right.
a lot of these are integrated with a lot of other
they all
stuff.
have the same screen resolution and roughly the same size. It's
I
just
know.
I'm looking at that though. It's the same. It's the 320 by 480, and it's just I mean, that's nice and everything. It's just not great.
Yeah.
I mean, at that
And-
point, you might as well just get an iPhone and live with the iPhone screen. I mean,
Which,
I'm looking at like
which
the
is the
N900, and that's awesome.
Do you remember? Maybe the chat room could tell us. Is the iPhone the capacitive touchscreen or is it the resistive?
I think it's capacitive.
I was at the Verizon store picking up my MiFi yesterday, and they had a crop of new Windows mobile phones in the Verizon store, brand new. One I just put on display yesterday, the day before I was there. All right, so the iPhone is capacitive.
Yeah.
So these Windows mobile phones must have been resistive or something because it was the absolute worst.
No, the
was
Windows
so
the
bad, I
Windows mobile
couldn't go
phones
to a web
use a different type of screen,
couldn't
and,
go to a
and
web page,
you end
dude.
up you can't really use your finger. You've got it for like the touch screen
crazy,
that's on
son.
it. You really have to use the stylus.
Styluses
That's
are
just-
old.
I agree.
Look
I
at
agree.
the WebOS phone.
Everything is
Capri,
using
the-
capacitive screens.
Yeah, everything's
I
going.
hear you. I hear you. I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to come to the defense of the Windows
I
mobile
was
touch
blown
screens
away
here.
about
I'm just
how
saying.
bad my user experience was on the Windows.
It isn't
mobile phone.
great. It isn't great. There's no doubt.
Okay. All right. So, anyways, I'll link
Yeah.
to the HTC.
I'm just
sorry.
saying that these are out there, and I know that there's supposed to be like 50 billion more Android-powered phones by the end of the year, but none of these beats the N900. And it's by such a long shot. The N900 is faster, has a better screen, is just generally more powerful, has a webcam and a nice
The one
camera.
thing I think that Android has going for it is
the App Store.
well,
There's not that many apps for it.
partially. I was going to say that it's been primarily a phone now for over a year.
Yeah.
Whereas the N900 just kind of getting into that space.
It's just kind of.
So it
I
won't-
hear you.
This is going to be. There's always seems to be like when something just enters that phone area. There's always seems to be
Yeah.
something that needs to be tweaked. I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm sure. I'm sure when the N900, has been in people's hands for more than a couple of months, we'll be hearing about updates to make it work better as a phone. I know that.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Well, the next story on the news docket for this week. This is just so cool. It's kind of a hardware-heavy
Oh, yeah.
news docket, but this is one of the things that's really heating up right now, and it's the truth. The fact of the matter is
Bring
that
me the truth. I
it's
want to
kicked
hear the
off
truth.
by Windows 7, and that is NVIDIA and ATI or AMD are positioning themselves to try to bring out DirectX 11 hardware, and then they
Yeah.
also do all the OpenGL updates and things like that. So ATI and NVIDIA are neck and neck right now trying to get these products out, and ATI currently has the lead for DirectX 11
Yeah.
supported hardware. They're going to be out in the next month or so, theoretically. NVIDIA is probably going to be out around January-ish, they think. And one of the things that ATI is bragging about with their new DirectX 11 Radeons, which, and again, their DirectX 11 is how they're labeling them, but that also means they have all the latest OpenGL updates and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
They are able to power 6 30-inch displays on one card.
6?
6 30-inch displays, and it's
6 on
using
one card?
not using DVI. It's using something called, which you've probably heard of before, DisplayPort.
Really?
Yeah, and it's this is pretty cool stuff.
DisplayPort?
So that's a total resolution of 7,680 by 3,200, which is the equivalent of 24.6 megapixels.
That's
Here's the
ridiculous.
crazy part. I don't know how this is going to shake out under Linux or OS X, but under Windows, it's presented as one single monitor to the operating system. So things like video games and whatnot don't have to be adapted to support the multiple screens because to them, they just are projecting to one huge screen.
Really?
So at the event where they were showing these off, they had demos of Left 4 Dead and a few other games playing
that
across
looks cool.
across these six
Okay,
30-inch
that's
monitors.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Over 24 million pixels. And when these 30-inch monitors first shipped, like you needed one video card with two DVI ports that would both be plugged into the monitor to be able to drive that.
Right, just for one of them.
Yeah.
Now you can pull six. Put six of them on there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
So it's looking pretty great, and of course, NVIDIA's working on something similar. But right now, NVIDIA's technology requires modifications be made to the video game in order to support the playback. Where ATI kind of has the edge right now by presenting one single monitor.
Lord in
Anyways,
heaven.
I'll link to this, but I just thought this is such a cool thing, and it really is one of these things that I truly believe that there's becoming this division. There's going to become embedded video or low end, like the NVIDIA Ion, where it comes essentially as a embedded video chipset, but it's still technically discrete, but it's fairly low powered. Then you're going to have these massively high end systems, and that's why it's so critical that everybody has really great driver support for all this stuff, because these video cards are going to be used for more and more general purpose tasks like encoding and all this kind of different live updating of content. When you bring in a CD, even MP3 encoding and OGG encoding is going to be done on this thing.
Let's be realistic about it. We're probably a little bit more in need of this sort of thing than the average person at the current time, because we do all the video encoding and all the live encoding and streaming and everything like that. I mean, how much really is the average Joe going to need this stuff? At least for quite a while. I mean, even currently they can do live encoding of video for their own home movies and stuff. Even with current gen hardware, they don't need this. They don't need the 6-screen thing. I mean, as much as I love forward progress,
they don't need the 6-screen thing,
but the massive power behind it. I mean,
the like right now,
you can buy like an $80 video card right now that you can play like World of Warcraft or whatever game totally maxed out. So I mean,
here's the thing.
I know we got to push
Brian,
it, but
here's the thing.
Come on.
So earlier in the week,
Chris, are you going to keep it real?
I'm going to tell you about it.
I don't know if you're going to keep it real,
sir. I'm about to tell you.
Jeremy, is Chris going to keep it real right now? Jeremy has confidence in you. You may go.
All right, here we go. So the thing that's kind of something to consider is, like, you look at an iPod or the Zune. When you bring on a video file to the Zune or the iPod or some other devices through iTunes or the Zune Player, whatever it's called, it'll do transcoding so that way it supports the device. The user doesn't have to worry about if it's a H.264 and an MP4 container with AAC audio. They don't have to worry about any of that because the software will transcode it. Now, on slower systems, that means it takes hours to sync.
That's true.
With these real-time accelerations through video cards, you're looking at such a phenomenal improvement in time. Snow Leopard and Windows 7 already have built-in facilities to take advantage of this. There's very active work under Linux from both AMD and NVIDIA to enable that kind of functionality. So I think, you're not going to have I'm not saying you have to have a high-end graphics card. But I think
I have to have one.
I think for the people that will have one, I think for the folks that will have one, there's going to be an obvious benefit there. Now, I'm obviously, because we do video production and stuff like that, I'm biased, but I do believe that, I was just looking at, I was going to say this earlier, earlier in the week, the whatever the group is behind the cable card standard is removing the restrictions where you have to have a cable card. Like if you want a PC with a cable card, it can only be an OEM. It has to be shipped from an OEM like Dell or somebody else. And they're removing that restriction now. Well, that is very great because,
that's awesome.
Get a cable card system from your cable provider. You can bring TV right into a Myth TV box, eventually.
Or anything. Yeah.
And one of the things that Myth TV does today to kind of get around the lack of underpowered hardware is it'll record TV in very, very, very large MPEG files.
Right.
Because it's not a ton of CPU to get that in that compression. And then you can schedule it after hours when you're not watching TV to re-encode it. And then also one of the things I love about Myth TV is you can also have it remove commercials and whatnot. Now, what if, though, through these video cards, and I'm not
Ready.
talking crazy stuff, but what if through these video cards, it could just record directly into that destination format?
It'll be nice.
So then you're not going from
that
one
would be
lossy
awfully
format to
nice.
another lossy format, because the problem is by going from MPEG to, say, whatever you want to go to, H.264, WMV,
Right.
You're going from a lossy format to
To
another
a lossy
lossy. So
format.
you're
It's
losing.
best to just encode and make it go straight there.
You got it.
Boom.
And
That's a kablamo
But the
moment.
hardware, for the most part, now with some Core i7 processors, you can generally do it. But those things put
Yeah.
off a ton of heat when they're working like that. So I really think there's some potential there that we don't even. It's like I never thought of. I never thought of live streaming a podcast via video before DSL was around.
That's true.
You know, when I was on dial-up,
Yeah.
that concept
sounded crazy.
That concept never
It
even
did. It
entered
sounded
my head.
crazy.
And then once the bandwidth became there, like things grew. Like you see things, online videos growing. So
but
I think
come on.
once the hardware bandwidth is there, these kinds of things will
And,
grow. I think
hey,
interfaces will become.
I'm not saying we don't need more GPU. I'm just saying 6 friggin' monitors, and those are big friggin'
Oh, no,
monitors.
yeah,
Come
no.
on, that's
No,
ridiculous.
I have no interest in that.
Like the only use for that really is for someone who just demands a wall of monitors, or for like a display at like a store or something, just to show off. Yeah, like a trade show. But
I do
that's-
not think a wall of monitors is important, but I do like the idea of a
good
well-powered.
of a good system with maybe 2, 3 at the most. Nice big monitors.
you got it.
Because it comes to a point where you have 6. That's too much to look at, and you will immediately irradiate your brain.
Well, and it's just so much power. I mean,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I just don't know at what point it's excessive, but I do know that 6 is definitely beyond that point.
6 is definitely unnecessary. All right.
But it's interesting because it does display the advantage of DisplayPort. DisplayPort is able to scale at much higher
Yeah.
resolutions, and DisplayPort is an open standard. Well,
Ah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know about
well,
open as in. All right, I'm just saying.
Excuse me while I chew on my breath for a minute.
I
here
am
for
just
that
saying
statement.
that DisplayPort has some advantages, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
You do want those advantages. I'm not denying that. All right.
right.
Do we have any other news? By
All
any
right,
chance,
okay.
Other than the fact that we can have 6 monitors at once.
Here's the kind of last gear
Chris.
thing I have for the show. Well, maybe one of the last. I just thought this was really cool. So, do you remember Iomega, the makers of the zip
It's
drive
like
and
the
the
gear
jazz
action
drive?
show.
Do you remember the Iomega, the makers of like the zip drive
Oh,
and the
dude,
jazz
I
drive?
loved my jazz drive.
Right?
This was I had a jazz drive. Everyone knows about the zip drive.
Was it 1 gig or was it 2 gigs?
It was 1 gig.
Yeah, okay.
1 gig for the jazz drive and 100 megs for the zip drive. Every
Yeah.
school had like a zip drive. They were slow and they were prone to failure, but it was cool because it was 100 megs.
where the Click of Death came from.
And it was awesome. The jazz drives was a gig. And it was fairly cheap at the time. It cost like $60-$70 to
You were
get
only
one of
rocking
those.
that thing on SCSI too, right?
Yeah, it was only over.
Yeah.
I had it plugged in over SCSI, and my internal hard drive was 540
Yeah,
megs.
yeah, same.
My jazz drive was a gig.
Yep.
It wasn't crazy fast, but it wasn't much slower than my hard drive. So everything ran off of my jazz drive. Just everything.
Sure, why
And I
not?
only had a couple of discs for it, but man, was it great.
All right, Brian. So the next story on the news docket is Iomega.
I just flashed all the way back to the mid '90s.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I went with
that
you.
Whole
was a good
trip I
ride.
just took. I wish you guys could have come with me because it was awesome. My little 486 little
Nostalgia.
SX33 I had rocking there. Oh man, that was
Did you
good
ever
times.
use any of those parallel port based Iomega devices? They're always a pain in the butt.
I did for the zip drive. I used the parallel port version
I
of the zip
had
drive.
SCSI and I had parallel, and
Yeah.
the parallel was substantially slower.
Oh Lord, the
was
parallel
crazy.
port versions were awesome.
Yeah.
I mean it was.
I was able to boot, a machine and reload Windows 95 or something. I don't remember what I was
yeah,
doing. back
Windows
then, but-
95A when that first came out. Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
All right, so Iomega has announced. Which,
All of a sudden, the mid '90s just turned evil
know,
in my mind. I
Iomega-
was loving it until you did that.
did you know Iomega was bought by EMC?
I had no idea.
Yeah, EMC is like a big player in the enterprise storage market.
for sure.
So Iomega has announced the Store Center IX4-200D. See how that's catchy? Just rolls right off the tongue.
Wow, that's a good name for
This
a product.
sucker is it's a SAN. It's a NAS, network attached storage, and it comes in 2, 4, and 8 terabyte versions.
Okay.
Now, if you buy a 2 terabyte, you can always add drives.
Yeah.
8 terabytes is probably the one we want to talk about because that's baller.
Sure, how much?
And it comes in at $1,900 for 8 terabytes.
What?
Now, though, here's what you get.
No, wait, no, hold on.
Buckle up,
At
sir.
this point, I don't even care what you get. $1,900 for 8 terabytes.
Dude, check this out,
I
though.
can put that together for like $700.
Check this out.
What do I care?
All right.
Is it
So,
going to give me like $1,200 worth of stuff?
It's a network attached storage with 2 gigabit ports, right? Okay. hold
Okay,
on.
I can do that for an extra 20
Yes,
bucks.
I know. It will work as an Apple Time Machine device.
Okay.
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you.
Oh my goodness.
It work as an iSCSI target. Okay, I can actually use that. So, and
That's
it
just
also
not that
work as a
useful, though.
VMware, a certified VMware storage device. Now, hold on.
Now wait a minute. What do you mean a certified VMware storage device?
So, if you run enterprise grade VMware product
Okay,
and you want to
sure.
attach to an iSCSI device, you can go the unsupported route and connect to just any general iSCSI device. Or VMware has a very specific set of products that they'll support. And there's like no other product in the market that starts below $700 as VMware certification. So but
this thing is $2,000.
All right, hold up. Here's what you go. All right, so obviously,
All right, I'm ready for
obviously the drives. There's SATA 2 drives. They're hot swappable. It's got 3 USB ports, but hold on. It supports multiple levels of RAID, including 5, 10, JBOD, all kinds of different stuff. It has built-in encryption on the drive, so the device can be encrypted. So somebody came in and walked away with it. All your data is encrypted.
So
It
like
has-
something you could do with Linux, Windows,
Yes.
any other server OS.
It has device-to-device replication, where you can, if you have 2 of them, they'll be able to sync to each
like
other.
Linux or Windows. Got it.
But see, the thing is you would have to set all that up. Now, you see, this probably isn't
Or buy it from someone who's pre-set up for less than
Active
$2,000.
Directory support,
Why do I care about Active Directory
SNMP
support?
support.
Why do? All right, man. You're just yanking my chain now because this just sounds
The
stupid.
2 terabyte version is $700, and you could always throw more drives in that.
Okay, that's
So you
great.
get all of that stuff plus 2
Right.
terabytes for $700.
I don't know. 2 terabytes for $700 doesn't sound so bad, but 6 terabytes of extra
Well,
storage for
I don't know.
$1,200.
You could buy You can buy actually.
a terabyte and a half. Nice Barracuda hard drive you can get for like $90 on sale.
I was going to say
sometime on
your
Newegg.
buddies over at Western Digital are now shipping a 2 terabyte drive for like
Dude,
$250.
I'm not going to buy a Western Digital 2 terabyte drive, but I mean a Seagate Barracuda though. I'll take that.
God,
Like
you know
a
what
terabyte and a
sucks
half.
is Western Digital's making really great drives now.
Are they
I
really?
hate that.
They were making
They've
terrible
got this
drives
thing
for a
now,
while.
so they've got this thing. So you know how the head goes over the hard drive platter and the head goes back and forth as it
Yeah,
sends for data,
yeah.
right? So that still is in place, and they have magnets all along the bottom of that, so it can read anything in that whole path.
and
that's
right, and
over.
the whole stripe.
But
No,
now
or the whole
also
strip,
also
whatever.
the tip of the actuator has an actuator, and so that can seek too, so it can move independently of the whole arm.
Oh, interesting.
The 7200 RPM drives and early benchmarks are coming in faster than like the high performance drives, like just
Really?
at least the Caviar Black editions, because that little extra seek thing cuts down, like if it just has to move a little bit instead of having to move the whole arm, it's very cool.
Oh, that's very slick.
Yeah, so
No, that is very, very
that's
cool.
but that's just a single drive and doesn't have any of the NAS capabilities. This is basically you plug it in and it does every network protocol known to man.
Oh, you mean kind of like Linux or Windows servers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got it.
So, okay, so why is this news?
Well, because it's all
I don't mean to dog on your news here, because you had me with all these other items up until Mr. Iomega by EMC
Well, you see, here's
presents
the thing.
an overpriced storage box. I mean, I can go to Newegg and get like 5 different ones
what
that
you
are almost
what you gotta
identical.
appreciate, Brian, is
I mean, Buffalo has a couple that are similar for like half the cost. So what do I want this for?
Brian, what you're not appreciating is the other thing that's kind of cool is
It's just going to do the click of death, and I'm going to have to get rid of it anyway.
The thing you're not okay, think about it. Like if you have a client who has, say they have 10 workstations, they don't want to buy
Okay.
a high-end server. They just want file storage.
Okay, so what?
You drop this guy in, you've got.
But I could do that with any of the various all-in-one boxes. Like the Buffalo Terra stations are cheaper and have just as many features
Yes,
and just
but
as
let
much
me tell you a little
storage.
story. Monday or Tuesday, one of the guys I work with, went in to respond to an issue at a client, and the Buffalo Terra station lost the entire RAID set.
Great. Let me tell you another story.
Just saying.
Iomega zip drives.
It's EMC now, and EMC is a big name in storage.
It says Iomega right on the front there
Hey, you know-
with a little logo that was
you know what-
on
you
the
know
front
what
of
else?
the click drives. The zip drives, as they were clicking
You
away,
know what
going
else,
chick,
Brian?
chick, 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 chick.
You know what else EMC makes that you like?
What do they make that I like?
VMware.
EMC owns VMware?
They do, yeah. They don't. Yeah, they didn't make it, but they do now. I mean, they own VMware.
Really?
So prove my point. I win.
All right, move on to the next one.
All right, Brian, the
We'll
next
fight this
story
out later.
on the news docket is just a quick one. I'm just going to make a quick mention of it. TomTom,
this is kinda cool.
because remember TomTom, they just had the patent lawsuits with
Oh,
Microsoft
yeah,
that they
those
settled
guys.
on.
Yeah, I
They
forgot
make
about
that
them.
Linux-based navigation system, and they have just announced the OpenLR navigation project. Now, there is already an Open Maps project out there, and Floss Weekly just did an interview with the guys like 2 or 3 episodes ago. So if you're
Nice.
curious about that, check that out. But OpenLR is essentially their version of user-corrected maps that then will be distributed through the TomTom navigation units, and you can download these updates and things like that
That's
to your
pretty cool.
device. Yeah, it's really cool.
I dig it.
And the reason why this is kind of substantial, not that the Open Streets project isn't already, but the reason why this is kind of
Yeah.
substantial is they have a significant install base, and they're going to enable this functionality on current devices. They just need a firmgetting update. So they're already
Really?
out there in hundreds of thousands of vehicles.
Oh, I dig it.
One of the other things they're going to be working on, which I'm just kind of getting the bare details on here, but they're working on a system where they'll be able to use an FM broadcast method to anonymously have TomToms check in at different points of their location. So basically it'll be, hi, I'm a TomTom. This is my GPS coordinates. So yes, I'm on the freeway and I'm going this speed essentially. And I've been able to calculate that speed by tracking with the satellite in space. And then it'll send that up to TomTom's servers. And then TomTom's going to be able to have live, on-the-fly, updated, user-generated traffic reports based on what other TomToms in your area are reporting.
I think you just described a Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
I think I saw that one. There were satellites, and it was tracking him all over the place. And
You
the
know-
camera was zooming from the satellite all the way down to Will Smith.
Google Maps,
and back and
Google
forth.
Maps on the iPhone does this now.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more common.
It's
but
crazy.
The thing Google Maps,
I love it. Kind of freaks me out at the exact same
it's
time.
supposed to be anonymous.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. The next story on the news docket for this week is decidedly non-hardware gadget.
No, it's not. There's no way this can be non-hardware related. You love the hardware.
I'm telling you, man. You ready?
I'm ready.
You sure?
Give it to me.
All right. So a new version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux is out, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5.4. But I thought I would speak specifically about something.
Yeah,
that
what does
piqued my
it
interest.
give us? What does it give us here? What do we got?
Lots of stuff, Brian. And if you're curious, you already know where to
Yeah,
find
I already
that
know,
info.
but give me the big stuff. Give me the big one. The big thing.
Red Hat Enterprise 5.4 marks Red Hat's essentially completed transition to using KVM virtualizer instead of Xen. Now, the reason why I find this particularly interesting is Xen was really kind of where Red Hat stacked its cards for a little while.
Oh yeah.
So you had a version of Red Hat Linux come out, and it was Xen, 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 Xen.
It was.
And then they had some kind of feedback from the different system administrators. People didn't like that it was outside the kernel. You had to reboot and boot a Xen-specific
heaven
kernel.
forbid. No.
And then KVM came along, and it's integrated directly into the mainline Linux kernel, and it's got some pretty good performance. And
Yeah.
then Citrix bought Xen, and Citrix has a close relationship with Microsoft, and Red Hat didn't
What
like
a
that.
tangled web.
So Red Hat started to actually do a pretty good move from Xen to KVM. They came out with one of the releases of Red Hat Enterprise Linux was a pretty good transition spot where you could choose to run either one. You could have a Xen system and then install KVM and bring up your systems. And they even brought a converter to bring your machines in. They did a pretty
That's
good
nice.
job.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
And now they're shipping. Now they're putting their weight behind KVM. And KVM is a pretty great virtualization technology. The downside, I think, for Red Hat that they're going to have here
Is it based on Fedora?
there's gonna be some catch up time.
Zinger.
Yeah, people in the enterprise that have the enterprise servers, they do not like this kind of infrastructure level change. They don't mind infrastructure improvements.
Dude, yeah, but this is a major change where basically they're going to, and here's the thing that bothers me about this. So if you were using it and you were using it for Xen or you were heavily relying on Xen, this isn't even like a full version upgrade. This isn't like a version 6.0 or tech 10.0 or X or something like that. It's 5.4. You would expect 5.4 to be bug fixes, maybe a few additional
They're
small
not taking
tools.
Xen out. Xen is still in there. Xen is not out until Red Hat 6. I think what Red Hat's trying to do is
give it like a phase out time.
they're trying to give people stepping stones to migrate off Xen. But the thing is
That just seems like the wrong way to go, though.
Well, the wrong way to go was choosing Zen
The
originally.
wrong way to go was choosing Zen, but I don't know. It just honestly at this point, it seems like the wrong way to go was choosing Red Hat Enterprise. I mean, it seems like okay, and this is horrible.
Well,
but,
I mean,
but
it's the big
so let's
dog and-
so let's say you have a bunch of options out in front of you. You could choose, to run like a Debian stable system or a CentOS,
Sure.
or
CentOS is basically Red
or
Hat
you could run like FreeBSD that's all locked down.
Yeah, you could.
Or you could get a Windows server. There's lots and lots of options, right? So if you run any of the free options, like let's say you get stable Debian, right? You can do whatever you want and you can just stick to it.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal at all. Now let's say you want to pay and you want to get the support. Really, the two big options are you go Windows or you go Red Hat Enterprise. Really.
Or
I mean,
or SUSE
or
Enterprise
or
Linux.
SLES or SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, which honestly keeps it more stable than Red Hat does. So, so let's say, but in most people's minds, SUSE Linux Enterprise is a newer guy to the game than Red Hat, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, well,
It
Novell
totally
has
is.
the long history of NetWare.
I mean,
So
they've
that
got
gives them some
NetWare.
in, but Red Hat kind of established
But they've
itself
got
as
that.
this market
What
leader.
I'm saying here
and
is,
they clearly are.
if you wanted to go for a particular solution, if you went for the Windows route or the SUSE Linux route, you'd have a pretty consistent, stable solution that you were paying for. For Red Hat, you're paying to not have a consistent solution.
Well,
It just seems really stupid to me.
I do agree that it's a pretty big change. The one thing that's
It's
nice about
dumb.
Red Hat is depending on the Red Hat Enterprise subscription that you have, you can continue to run the older version for a very long time. Like I think it's almost like 10 years.
Oh, for sure. You can run the older version for a heck of a long time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it just seems like, but what that means is they're ensuring that people are going to at least consider moving somewhere.
Well, what I
else.
would have liked to have seen
It's just not a good move.
is I would have liked to have seen kind of a public roadmap and plan. So I think there must have been a point in Red Hat's meetings and things like that where they said, you know what, they must have said at some point internally, you know what, we're going to migrate away from Zen. And then what they should have done is put out a public roadmap so that way system administrators could begin to plan for that. Because if you're one of the people that the name of the company is escaping me, but Red Hat put out a big press release about a company that migrated 300 systems into Zen Virtualizer.
Sure.
Now they have 300 servers that they need to make a profit because it runs
Right.
all of their systems in Zen.
And they can't
And
be
they're looking
using future Red Hat products.
Well, what they'll have to do is go through that migration process for 300 systems, 300 critical systems.
I mean, going on track record, though, there is no way I would trust that the migration process would work. And that to me is, I mean, it's like... It's
Well,
like
the one
any-
nice thing I suppose
just
is
stupid.
the nice thing that they're doing this phase migration is because it's been working. They've been working on it for so long. Hopefully, they have that process ironed out.
You know what I like? I like companies who have foresight and pick good solutions and do a good job.
Well, and that's what I was saying. I mean, I think if they would have put out a roadmap,
Basically,
when
anyone
they
but
planned
Red
it-
Hat at this point. It's getting really ridiculous.
It was pointed out in the chat room. I didn't catch who mentioned it, but if you recall, Alan Cox
Oh, I recall all too well.
Did he leave? Did he leave Red Hat or did he just leave kernel development? Either way,
I believe Alan Cox left Red Hat.
yeah, I think so. Either way, it's interesting that perhaps the two are related. Just gonna
I
throw
don't
that
know.
out there.
It maybe it could be. I'm just saying. You know what? I'm just not a fan of every time Red Hat comes out and does something new. Every time the Fedora project does something new, I look at it and go, really? You kind of screwed up a little bit there, didn't you?
Serge is saying or Sergey is saying that Alan Cox now works for Intel.
And you know, honestly, that probably makes a lot more sense. I have a lot of hopes because in the old days, I mean, Red Hat was the
here's the thing.
man.
You gotta think
and
of it
they
this
were
way.
they were the man to beat, and they were always doing a great job. And it's just like, well, what
I know
are they
you're
doing
not.
nowadays?
I know you're not a Fedora fan, but
I used to be.
You look at it
I used
this
to be
way.
a huge Fedora fanboy.
if you consider that Fedora generally is, they hate it when we say this, but it's essentially a staging area for Red Hat Enterprise. The best of Fedora that gets ironed out makes its way into Red Hat Enterprise. And if I'm a system administrator, I mean, I did this while I worked for a place that ran Red Hat Enterprise, as I ran Fedora on my desktop. That gives me time there to kind of see where the direction of the product is going and prepare for that. Because if I'm running Fedora and Fedora 11 has what Red Hat Enterprise 5.6 is going to have a year from now, then I can kind of prep myself that way. So it's a kind of a unique position that Red Hat is in over, say, something like Microsoft, because Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 are not really that much different of a beast. You can't load Windows 7 and say, okay, I know what Microsoft's going to do in a year from now. You don't have that kind of flexibility because they both come out around the same time. They're both kind of based off the same thing. Now, the one nod I'll give to Microsoft, though, is Microsoft over-communicates. Microsoft will have documentation for the next 5 years of what they're going to do. Now, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes they change it on you, and you're like, damn it, Microsoft, you're screwing me in the A. But they try. And I think I'd like to see Red Hat start doing that more. They do it to an extent. They do it, but this would have been a great opportunity to really do that.
Yeah, it would have. But they're quote unquote an open source company, so of course they wouldn't want to communicate with anybody.
The communication was
ever.
done through the Fedora product itself by watching where that was going.
That's lame.
It's not
That's
ideal.
totally 100% lame.
It's not ideal. The people that have massive infrastructures in there, they're not totally happy about it.
Yeah, it's lame.
All right, that's all I got.
Is that what you got?
That's
because I agree, Fedora's lame. Is that what the news story was?
No,
I think the news story was that Fedora's lame.
You are an angry person.
Just when it comes to Fedora, I actually have to get all my anger out because when we start talking about Haiku, the gushing fanboy is going to be unleashed.
All right, Brian. Well, let's get to that. So I just wanted to give you an update on Red Hat Enterprise, Brian. But apparently you didn't want to hear it.
Hey, Chris, is that all the news for this week?
Brian, that's all the news for this week.
Nice.
Hey, how's our key looking now that the sunlight's gone down? Are we looking okay on the key, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Actually, it looks pretty good.
It looks better in
Yeah, it looks all right.
than it does on this.
What is
I'm
that?
not sure if that's going to be any problem. It's a little gray up in the top right. So, I don't know. I hope you don't have any issues with that.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the Wirecast, the stream looks great.
Yeah, the stream looks pretty good, guys.
Good.
All right, you want to bring up your Haiku? You want to do the Haiku VM thing?
Okay.
All right, bring that up. Hey, can you give me about 90 seconds?
All right, go.
All right. And everyone, Chris is going to entertain you for 90 seconds.
Should I show them a little bit, or do you want me to wait?
Get up and do the truffle shuffle.
Do you want me to wait before I show them a little bit?
You wait.
Oh, I gotta wait. Don't show them my screen, Jeremy. Do not do it because
Not doing it.
Brian wants to surprise everybody. How does it? Can you preview it though? How does it look in the preview?
It looks like a screen that has stuff on it. That was a little terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's running under on this computer I'm running on is old. Brian's really excited about this Haiku segment. Brian was a huge BIOS fan back in the Dizzle, so he's really excited about this guy.
He wanted to go into business for BIOS.
Yeah, well, that would have been awesome. I mean, I'll save it, but I think you know what I'm saying. I think you know what I'm saying right now. So this seems to be like I'll save it, but I want to ask the chat room, Bon Echo, is that the development? I thought Minefield was the development version of Firefox. So is Bon Echo the development version of the Mozilla Suite, or is that a whole new version of Firefox? Bon Echo. Anybody know? Anybody recognize the term Bon Echo? It's some flavor of the Firefox Gecko.
Use the internet.
Well, I got this thing out. I'll see if the internet works on this thing. Let's see if this Haiku operating system.
Because if it crashes at all, then that would be the end of the world. I can look it up over here.
No, not on the Wirecast machine. Bon Echo Alpha 1 is a developer preview of the next generation Firefox. Boom! Thank you, sir.
You have the brains.
Nice. The next generation. I want to know about it. I want to know what's next generation about it. If it's process isolation, then they've got my freaking attention. Chrome.
It's being
Jeremy, how come you're not using Chrome? Chrome is getting to be a really...
well because I've been using Brian's machine, and I'm kind of still a little hesitant to put software on it because I'm not sure if he'll need it back at any point.
He's not going to need it back.
Not gonna need-
No.
I haven't really talked to him about it, so I haven't been loading it up.
We need to reload that machine.
In
Do you have monitors? No. You should have monitors. Yeah, we need to reload that machine because you're having issues. Huh?
I don't need monitors.
Well, next time we do something, bring it over. Bring your machine over, and we'll reload it.
I kind of planned to today, but then there was the whole transportation fiasco.
Yeah, you screwed up. Yeah. God, I love this operating system. This is like old-time memories here.
Oh, dude.
This file system is great.
Did you?
Oh, dude.
I mean, the layout. This
Oh.
file system layout
It's perfect.
is perfect.
Perfect.
It is perfect.
Oh, don't forget to let me start talking about
Check
that.
this out. Check this out.
That's one of my least favorite features in Windows 7 so far is the file system.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah, not that great.
But no. Once you people in chat room didn't hear it. Windows 7 has a new feature called libraries.
Yeah.
Once you figure it out, it's pretty cool. But if you can't wrap
It's
your
not
brain
a
around
bad
it,
idea.
there's a hack
It's
to turn it
just
off.
meh.
I can see how it'd be easy for somebody getting into computers now, but I still come in the back of my brain.
Right.
Whenever I look at Windows,
You already know where all your stuff is. You
I
don't.
love.
running in the back.
It makes it's too like it's trying to make it like
Yeah.
it's trying to make it for people to just stick files everywhere.
Well, let's get ready. Let's rock this.
All right, Jeremy, let me know when you're ready.
I got stuff to talk about.
Okay, it's recording. This mouse is not working very well.
All right, it's haiku time.
All right.
And before we get into this too much further, I want to kind of give it a little background.
Do you want to
here.
just apologize up front?
No, I want to.
Because you're about to freak out.
I'm going to freak out a little bit here. But I want to talk a little bit about what Haiku is and where it came from, just very briefly. For those of you who aren't aware, Haiku is an open source operating system that is not based on, but derived from the ashes of BIOS. Now, BIOS, of course,
So wait, before you go too far, when you say not based on, you mean there's no original BIOS code in this?
not anymore.
What, son? You're kidding me.
No, so basically what they've done with Haiku is they've gone through and systematically replaced all the various pieces and parts of BIOS with open source versions.
Shut up.
Yep.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me?
I'm not screwing with you on this.
No wonder it's taking them so long.
And here's the thing, and they did it right. So let's back up a second though here. What is BIOS? And if for those of you who aren't aware, maybe you're a little too young, maybe you just weren't nerdy at that particular point in time, all is forgiven. Let's talk about BIOS for a second. BIOS was started back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They created this machine called the B-Box.
Yeah.
It was a cool little herd-based
Power
machine.
PC, right?
It had, no, not originally. AT&T, whatchamacallit, base processors, the old Hobbit processors.
Oh, wow.
Which was they had a little multi-processor system, and they created this OS that sat on top of it. And then they quickly moved that operating system to PowerPC, and they had that operating system running on early PowerPC Macs. So you could get like the old 603E Power Macs with 2 processors, and you could run BIOS on it.
Yeah.
Very cool. In fact, back before Steve Jobs returned to Apple, Gil Amelio was running the shop at Apple.
Back when Mr. Jobs was still at Next.
And interestingly, also Gil Amelio was the guy who brought us things like the iMac and returned Apple to profitability. But then, whatever, Steve Jobs got all the credit. No big deal. Anyway, I'm sure Gil Amelio is not bitter at all. But
Or Brian.
There was 2 options here for the next generation operating system for Mac OS. Because Mac OS at the time was the old OS 8.
Yeah. You're talking about Apple management was saying, okay, we've got to do something.
They had projects at Apple to come up with a new OS for quite some time.
Rhapsody?
There were many. Oh, Rhapsody is OS 10.
What was the project I'm thinking of?
Copeland?
Yeah.
All right, so that we can talk about that at a later time. But there was 2 main options. Basically, when they all their projects in-house had failed, they looked outside. And they looked at 2 companies. One was Next, which was headed by Steve Jobs, and that's what won and became OS 10 and everything.
Right.
And the other was BIOS, headed by a guy named Jean-Louis Gasset, who was originally like the head of Apple France. Anyway, so he is the guy who started this company to create BIOS and the B hardware line.
Okay.
So they created this system, and it's a very cool system. Jeremy, feel free to switch over for the video people so you can see some of the screenshots. If you're listening to the audio version at home, feel free to go check out some screenshots online. Just do a search for BIOS or Haiku.
Or watch the video version.
Or watch the video version of the show, and you can kind of see some of what it looks like. So they created this OS. And here's the thing that was crazy about it. It was insanely multi-threaded. And of course, nowadays, multi-threading is common. Of course you want multiple threads per application. It just helps things run faster. You can do multiple things at once. And one of the big benefits a lot of people see is, well, if you have an application like, let's say, Firefox, great example, your web browser. You want your main window to be running in a thread, and then a secondary thread to be doing, let's say, your rendering and downloading of your content.
Yeah.
This means that your window and your application is still responsive while doing all the background tasks like downloading your software, the files you're downloading online.
Sure.
But they took it a step further in with BIOS. They made pretty much everything its own thread. And, I mean, we're talking like a button would be a thread. I'm
Now,
only
but
like
I've heard
a
that that's
button.
actually too much. Like it was too complex.
Yeah.
It was too much threat. Like it was so much for a developer to wrap his head around.
It's totally not.
All right.
That's just
You're
a
just saying you have to be a baller.
you know what? You really don't. It actually makes a great deal of sense. So they focused on C++ as the main programming language that you develop for BIOS,
Yeah.
and it's just heavily multi-threaded.
Okay.
And because of that, it takes advantage of multiple processors and multiple cores far better than any computer system I still have ever seen.
Wouldn't it shine today?
It does shine today. So then flash forward a little bit. And BIOS was not doing so great, and it needed some help. It needed some love. So they tried things like making the B Internet appliance.
Yep.
So they did
I
like
remember that.
web tablets before they were web tablets running BIOS. And they were trying to tout BIOS as a heavy multimedia machine because it was so fast and so multi-threaded. It was great for audio processing. And then they moved forward. So
Yeah, I
and then they
remember
went out of business, yada, yada, yada. They got bought by Palm. And nothing ever really happened.
Nope.
So
But we did get
Haiku.
WebOS 10 years later. Yay.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with BIOS. But people still love this system. It's beautiful. The UI, it doesn't leave. It's not anything super fancy.
I actually don't mind the UI. It's not very flashy.
It's not very flashy. It's very simple. And Haiku retains the UI from BIOS in that it has yellow tabs everywhere. Literally, instead of the window title bar that we're so used to on every OS, it's a tab.
Yeah, it's a tab.
That is yellow.
Yep.
And it kind of became synonymous. In fact, there was a company called Yellow Tab for a while that was trying to sell BIOS, and there was a legal brouhaha around it. But anyway, so Haiku started by a bunch of guys. They're like, you know what? We want to take and make an open source version of BIOS, and we want to put it under a license that we like. And they chose MIT. So it's an open source project, all under the MIT license.
So did they have their hands on the original BIOS code in order to re-implement it?
No.
Jeez. How do they do it then? I don't understand.
Because they're baller, Chris.
Wow.
That is the pure
crazy
fact of the
baller.
matter is these guys are baller to an extreme.
That's crazy baller, right?
And
What a project.
dude, what a project. So I wanted the alpha version. This is the very first alpha. It's been in development for a while now. Quite a while, a couple years. And this is the first alpha of the first release.
This feels great for being an
ever. And there are problems with it, but there are some great things about it. And the first alpha is supposed to come out this next week. So if you're watching this video within a few days of it being released, you'll have the alpha version, including live CDs, VMware images, etc., will all be available within a couple of days.
Yeah, what I'm
From
running right here.
haiku-os.org.
I'm
by
running
the way, is the website.
I'm running just a VMware image that you can just download. And,
Right,
and
of
run.
the pre-alpha. And it to be fair, if you really want to see it shine, put it on actual metal. Run it on hardware. It's okay to play with on VMware, but to see it actually shining, even on my little netbook here, my little HP Mini 1000, holy Lord, does it scream. I mean, I've run every OS on here. I've run Ubuntu on here. I've run Windows 7 on here. I've run OS 10.5 on here. Nothing performs like Haiku does. Nothing. I mean, it is such a night and day difference.
I remember
speed-wise. Applications just jump out at you and
what was
launch
one
at
of the
you.
last releases? Was it like BIOS 5 R2 or something like that?
Yeah. BS R5.
R5. I remember
Or R5 2 or something
I put
like
it
that.
on a like a mid-range Intel box.
Yeah.
And I think it had like a 15-20 second boot, and it auto-detected all of the hardware in that box for the first time during that.
Yep.
It was crazy fast.
Crazy fast.
I remember, because back then it was a big deal if you could play a video and do other stuff and not have the video skip. And that was never an issue in BIOS. So this Haiku operating system, one of the first things that I remember from BIOS that, now coming back looking at Haiku, that jumps out at me is, this is such a weird thing to talk about, but the file system.
It's gorgeous.
The layout of the file system is
All right,
so intuitive.
It's simple. Is the beautiful thing.
It's better than any operating system's file system layout.
It's almost like it took the best of the original Mac, OS X, and Linux, and combined just the good elements of all of them, combined them all together, and then gave us this.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. You go up to the root, and you've got your apps folder, your home folder, a preferences folder, a system folder, and a couple other folders that are optional. But all your folders are neatly and tidily organized in very simple, non-convoluted way that people could easily understand. It's amazing.
I mean, when's the last time maybe last time I ran BIOS was 12, 13 years ago. And so I don't really remember anything as far as the file system goes. Jumping into this in the first 5 minutes, I knew where everything was.
Yeah.
And now is this the same crazy awesome BIOS file system that BIOS had back in the day, or is this?
Yeah, this is the basics. Yeah, it's still the B file system,
now,
the
what was
BFS,
the BFS file
which is a
system,
journaled file system. Is
there was
basically
something else that was supposed to be really great about it. I forget. Though.
It's just a great file system. It's a nice journaled file system, which is one of the first really big OSs to
64
adopt
yeah.
a nice journaled file system.
I thought there was something very specific that we're just trying to accomplish today in today's file systems that they already had back then. And I thought maybe it was
Making it not screw up all the time. I don't know. That's a big one.
maybe that was it.
Here's the thing. Every time OS 10, a new version ships, you hear horror stories about people losing data on HFS drives. Every time a new version of Windows comes out, especially on the server, you hear about NTFS drives going tits up. Extended file system ext4, you hear awful sorts of problems. When was the last time you ever heard someone say, oh, man, BFS just ate everything?
Well, they don't,
But it didn't happen back in the day. Doesn't happen now. That's all I'm saying.
I'm in the shell. What kind of shell is this? I mean, is it a specific type of Unix shell? Or?
Yeah, no, it's a POSIX compliant shell. I believe it's just a tush. Yeah, is what it is currently. So if you're coming from the Linux world, you're going to feel very at home. Let's back up a second.
All right.
Let's start from the beginning.
Do it.
Let's say you go grab the live CD of this.
Okay.
The live CD is just like a Linux live CD. It lets you hop right into the OS itself and play around with it.
Sure. I mean,
so it's great.
One of the things I remember it was very good at was auto-detecting hardware.
It auto-detected all your hardware, and it boots crazy fast, just like BIOS of olden days. The installer is the best installer I have ever seen for an operating system. There is almost nothing to it. It's deceptively simple.
Huh.
You get to it, it literally presents you with a window and says, this is your installer.
Nice.
And you're like, okay. And it tells you, hey, I don't see anything I can install BIOS on, or Haiku on. You should launch the little Derive app and do a partition thing.
Hey, would you do a partition?
It's right there with one click. Pop it open. Their drive partitioning thing lets you format drives in HFS Plus, NTFS, FAT32, BFS, Extended 4, ext3. It has basically a list of like 10 or 12 different formats I can choose from. It's all phenomenal, and it does it very, very fast.
Check this out, Brian. All right, so right now I've got Bon Echo, which is the current next generation development version of Firefox. The chat room tells me.
Yep.
I've got Bon Echo running plus 1, 2, 3, 4 other programs and the operating system, and I have 4 virtual desktops going.
And this is in VMware with one processor on kind of an older machine.
But I'm only using 158 megabytes of memory for the entire system.
Right. For everything.
That's I mean,
I know.
That's less than 256 megs of RAM.
Seriously. It's ridiculous.
That's with real today.
Ridiculous.
That's with a media player running, a web browser going, 4 disk space, a couple of different file browsers. I mean, this is really nice.
This is what I'm saying.
So what's the practical use of this, though? Because unfortunately, I mean, it might be one of those cases where the very, very advanced system just didn't win out.
Yeah, I mean, it is, in my opinion, it is one of the coolest operating systems there is, still, currently. But if we don't have the software, what does it matter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I can't use it for things.
I mean, I see they have some apps in here. They have.
Well, they have a lot of apps in there, and there are a lot of more apps you can go get. So you can use it for a day-to-day machine. Honestly, if you were to use this for a netbook OS, it would work incredibly well. With one caveat.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking this would run great on my Triple E.
There's currently no Wi-Fi that's working. Yes. So there are experimental Wi-Fi stacks going on right now, but there's currently no functional Wi-Fi in Haiku.
Yes, the teapot exists still.
Of course.
Teapot.
Yeah.
Getting 1,000 frames per second in VMware.
In VMware.
We're getting 1,000 frames per second in a VMware with no 3D acceleration.
None at all. And seriously, it screams crazy fast on my netbook.
Yeah.
Insano fast.
I bet.
And by the way, it sees both cores, and it actually it has a little pulse application that has a little. I don't know if you can see it in the video shots there, but it actually says Intel Core
Yeah.
processor.
I remember they had that
whatnot.
back in the Dizzle too. That
It actually shows you what type of processor it is and has a little graphic of it.
Yeah.
It actually shows me that the one I have in here is the Atom 270 processor. It knows
did it
what it
do
is.
that?
They're amazing.
They
I'm
are
telling
amazing.
you, the guys making this are baller. Now, as it's a generally
no
very
3D
usable
drivers
system.
either, right?
No, there are accelerated drivers, but and there is OpenGL stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just no Wi-Fi. The really killer right now is the lack of Wi-Fi. If I had Wi-Fi, I would for sure, without any hesitation at all, throw this alpha release on my netbook and run it as my main
and
netbook
especially,
system.
I mean, so much stuff now is web-based. I mean,
You're fine.
you know what? You know what
go.
is kind of blowing my mind, and people in the chat room were talking about this, and the idea of an operating system that's so phenomenally fast that it feels like there's absolutely zero load time for anything.
This is the thing.
But
it's so
now,
fast.
Picture that running on an SSD.
I know. I know.
That'd be you'd probably just burn a hole through the universe.
And again, how much memory are we using there? 100 megs or so?
Yep.
And in a standard netbook right now, I got 2 gigs. Yeah, come on.
So now Jeremy is asking. So if it's under the MIT license, is there any reason why somebody couldn't just contribute the code for Wi-Fi drivers?
No, and people are. That's the thing is there are
So
it's
being worked
projects.
on.
And in fact, if you've
Because
got
this could be a crazy great netbook OS.
if you've got certain Wi-Fi chipsets, if you go and look on haiku-os.org and look around there are projects you can download to get Wi-Fi kind of working.
Oh, so you
however,
mean-
it is very experimental.
Oh, okay.
It is very early, and no guarantees that you'll get it to work even after mucking with it for quite
it's
some
just
time.
so there are some that are available.
There
today.
are, and it is coming. What they need to do now is they need to get some more drivers in place, and they need to get their finalized UI for configuring Wi-Fi. They don't have that in the
gotcha.
system currently.
Right. Because
That is really their
I don't
last
understand how
thing.
they're able to re-implement stuff at the same level. I mean, there must be incompatibilities.
Oh yeah. Have a really good time. Load up the fonts there.
There must be incompatibilities.
So here's the great thing about this. So let's see. Is this the font preview or is it under demo?
Demo.
Go under
Gotcha.
demos and
Yep.
there's a font thing in there.
Font demo. Yep.
Yeah, there's a font demo in there. Okay, it's no big deal.
Sure.
Go ahead and make the font larger. Just make
All
it
right.
make it bigger.
Here I go.
All right, just make it large. Okay, now rotate it. Now rotate the font.
I will rotate the font. There
Rotate
I go.
that
I'm rotating
font.
the font.
I want make it even larger still. I would like you to notice
Wow.
how intensely smooth everything is.
Oops, I clicked on the other. That's like the clearest, best looking font I've ever seen.
I know. And that's how the rendering is inside all of Haiku. Everything is anti-alias to the extreme.
Wow.
Everything is well done. Everything is gorgeous. In the video, it might look a little jaggedy, but that's because of the video rendering. Honestly, it does
compression
not
might-
look jaggedy at all. There is no jaggedy.
Wow.
Haiku is
I'm doing other stuff, so
amazing. It
That
is
is amazing.
absolutely an amazing system from top to bottom.
I don't know why, but whatever reason, that font stuff is impressing the crap out of me. That looks amazing to
It's
scale
just
like
fonts. And here's the thing, like Windows 7, OS 10,
Crystal clear,
Linux.
crisp.
I mean,
Perfect.
they've all got great font systems. They all really do at this point, but not like BIOS does.
that. I don't understand how BIOS had all this stuff so right, and we still don't have this crap.
I don't know. I think maybe B Incorporated just did a bad job of selling it. Maybe they just kind of screwed the pooch themselves.
Wow, even when I shear it to an angle,
I know.
it doesn't have it.
And this is just fonts. And the reason I point this out to you is
That's
because
amazing.
every aspect of the system looks like this. As you are going through and modifying all of this, remember that everything is heavily multi-threaded. So if you've got videos playing elsewhere,
Yeah.
and they still have the demo in there somewhere where you can have like a 3D cube and the videos playing on each surface of the cube and all the other stuff. Every video is its own thread. All the 3D cube itself is its own thread. The rendering is its own thread. Those sliders are their own thread. It's gorgeous. So that means if something somewhere locks up and has a hard time, the system's fine.
Wow.
It's not just protected memory. It's not just really good multitasking. It's crazy, pervasive multi-threading. And it's very well done. And
Now,
this
could a
is,
developer,
this is
though-
something that's exciting.
Could a developer be like a boner and just make everything a single thread?
It'd be hard to do.
Really?
Yeah. The way it's currently set up is Haiku comes with its own SDK, and it comes with the dev environment. And as long as you follow,
Is it decent?
it's very decent. In fact, in the old days, it was actually old MetroWorks Code
Oh,
Warrior.
Jeremy, put my screen back up. Yeah, for people watching the video version, it has a cycle fonts mode, and I have it rotated at a slant, spaced out, and then sheared. And it's
Man,
just,
I wish the video weren't.
the video
weren't
will show.
Imagine it super smooth, and that's what it's like.
It seems like a dumb thing to get excited about, but I couldn't reproduce this we have today.
It's absolutely phenomenal. So really, what I'm stopping here is that there are. I need to focus on the bad points because honestly, I could go on for years about its good points. It's just really good,
And we are now using 164 megabytes of memory.
and it'll go back down.
Yeah, yeah.
It does a very good job of the memory management. There is no built-in Flash plugin for the browser that they currently have. The browser
Well,
itself,
that's not their fault.
the browser itself, which is just like codenamed Bon Echo,
Which
which
is
is basically Firefox.
Which is a very alpha version, but it's supposed to be like the next gen version of Firefox.
Yep.
That seems fancy.
It is very fancy. It works well, but there are some rough edges, but it's still very usable, as in, honestly, like when I was using some of the beta versions of like Firefox 3, this is more usable than that was.
This has some really, but not in a bad way, simplistic things. Like, okay, so in one click, I'm able to get to my network settings.
Yeah.
Which, Microsoft, holy
It takes like
Jesus, would you
18
pay
clicks.
attention to that?
Yeah.
To get to my network adapter, yeah, it's like
That is the
5
point.
years later, I finally find the
That
network
is
settings.
absolutely the point. Everything.
One click.
If you go,
It's very simple.
Click on the Haiku button up there, which is like a little leaf.
Yeah.
All right. Now go back. Open up your preferences again.
I will go with my preferences. Jeremy,
Your
show this.
preferences are right there. It's very old school in that you click on what your preferences and you just get a
Yeah.
pop-up menu
Yeah.
of all
So
of
it
all
takes
your
me
different
2
system-wide
clicks
prefs.
to get to the preferences menu for people in the audio version.
Everything.
2 clicks, and then
Everything.
and then everything's right here, and then I just click on anything inside here. Maybe
Yep.
maybe I want to do my screen resolution, and it's 3 clicks, and I'm adjusting my screen resolution. Now that's not unusual for GNOME, really. That's kind of about where GNOME's at.
Yeah,
a
GNOME's
lot of
got
a lot of
that.
I think there must have been a lot of BIOS people that moved to GNOME, that because
But like KDE, right? KDE, you have to really drill down.
yeah.
And Windows, you really have to drill
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's annoying.
Yeah.
And this is it's just so nice. Everything is simple. The applications are right there. The file system is immediately accessible and readable and understandable. You've got multiple workspaces.
Oh man, 1 click,
it's just so
1
nice.
click. Oh my gosh, wow.
Are you seeing that?
That is so cool. So 1 click,
Uh-huh.
and I've got a really quick drop-out menu task manager where I can kill any process.
And it shows in a graphical way the memory usage of everything. And it doesn't take a while to load up. It's just boom, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's not a separate application
Yeah.
you load. It's just boom, right there.
And then I move down. There's all of the programs in a menu list with on the right-hand side a bar of their memory usage, so I can tell
Yep.
how much memory each different program is taking.
Yep.
And then, oh wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then the bottom menu here is okay. So
Yeah, wrap your head around
okay,
that one.
okay. So this is every application, and in the right-hand side, it is the amount of CPU it's taking. And then when you hover over that application, you get the amount of CPU it's taking on a thread level. I can
Uh-huh.
see each.
Now wait.
Wow.
Now drill down further.
Holy crap. Oh, what? I can go into the threads themselves?
No,
What?
those. Setting priority on a per thread basis inside applications.
And I'm 4 clicks in. I'm not even clicking. I'm just hovering. I'm 4 hovers in.
I kid you not. You can go into any application. Let's say you want to go into your web
Holy
browser.
sweet mother.
And-
This is amazing.
And you want to set the priority of your
Let's
rendering.
do it. Okay,
Let's
so I'll
say
load
you're
up,
rendering.
I'll load up Bon Echo
Yep, here we go.
And I'll go into that. They call it the Bzilla browser, which
is funny.
That's
Yeah.
classy, guys. You guys over on the Haiku team are keeping it classy. All right, so I'll go here. So they have a little CPU usage thing up by the clock, and if you click on that CPU usage thing by the clock, it brings out this menu
Yep.
system. So I've opened up 2 web browser windows.
Man,
here,
you
I think.
guys who aren't watching the video version are missing out right now.
You know what I'll do?
I'm trying to describe this as we
I'll
go,
link to
audio-wise.
in the show notes. I'll link to the specific time in the video.
All right.
Where you
now,
can
now
choose.
go to the threads and CPU usage.
All right, so I've got 2 browser windows open, and I'll go to threads and CPU usage, and then here's my Bzilla browser.
Yep.
And then, okay, so under Bzilla browser, I can see both windows. Oh, I see.
Oh yeah.
So these are each individual threads inside that window.
Oh yeah. Those are individual Mozilla threads. So those
So-
are threads as defined by the Mozilla project.
Right, right. So here I could say, okay, so this is the actual HTML window rendered here.
Yeah.
And I could say the HTML
You want
rendering.
the window to have high priority.
I want
or
the
idle
rendering
or
engine to
whatever.
have high priority. You can give the little animation thing
Notice,
low
I
priority.
want to point something out here. What's the top one says idle, right? Of the priority list.
Yeah.
What's the bottom one say?
Real time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a big
Oh
deal.
yeah. So let's
That's
say
a- that's a-
let's say Chris, just on an example, we were editing audio and recording it live.
I would put that on real time, Brian.
You sure as heck would.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I think I've said that about 18 million times
This is
so
really
far.
this is stuff that I want to see in today's operating systems really bad.
Chris, this is today's operating system.
Well, I mean, unfortunately,
It's not the main player, and it's still alpha. But what this is accomplishing, how this is designed, is light years
So-
ahead of what almost everyone else is doing.
this Haiku menu button, which is equivalent to say your no menu or your start menu,
button,
it's
yeah.
a precursor to those really. But
Yeah, it really is.
You know,
This it basically
hold on a
it
second.
used to just say B up there,
Hold
but
on
now
a
it's
second.
now it's a leaf.
so this was developed. This button, this menu system was implemented before there ever was a start menu, before there ever was a no menu,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it does so much more than any of those things do today.
So much more.
Okay, so I
yeah.
click on the feather, which in Haiku is that button.
Mm-hmm.
Inside there, I've got all my applications, my preferences, things like that.
Yeah, and you can organize them however you want.
I've also got built-in search, sure, great. But I can mount my different devices right from this menu
And modify your mount point settings.
in a single click.
Yep.
From this menu right here. Why can't I do that today?
Now check that out.
Automatic dismounting settings. Don't mount all BIOS, so any disk that's in the BIOS format automatically mount
Or just
mount,
everything.
Mount everything.
And when it says everything, BIOS can mount everything.
And then I can say only the
You know how when you're on Windows you can't mount like an ext4 or an HFS Plus, or how when you're on a Mac it just has problems with everything. Or when you're on Linux and you can kind of get NTFS working but not HFS.
you always kind of cross your fingers though.
You cross your fingers. Yeah, B mounts everything.
Yeah, I remembered that from back then too. This for whatever reason the fonts and the menu system are what's getting me going.
It's great. It's great. So it's a great system. Out of the box, the Live CD Alpha install gives you enough to run your full like netbook based thing. If you are looking for a system to do all your email, your instant messaging, your web browsing, all of that, it's got that out of the box. What you don't have is Flash and Wi-Fi. Those are the two things you don't have.
Yeah.
Everything else is available to you. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to go out and run Doom 3 and whatnot, but there are a lot of older open source games, of course, already ported over. Like the original Doom or Quake.
Oh,
you
I
can
want to
run.
run this operating system so bad right now.
Yeah. It's kind of I am waiting incredibly anxiously for when they have Wi-Fi support for my little
I can't
netbook,
believe-
because I guarantee you it will be my primary system.
They had it is this new to Haiku, or in the 90s did they have multiple virtual desktops?
They've had that the whole time, forever.
So they had
they call it workspaces, but it's
they
basically
had
virtual desktops.
so you can have per workspace configurations.
Right.
This is really really nice. I mean, it's essentially what I can accomplish now under KDE or GNOME, but
Sure.
I mean, this feels like if somebody looked at all of today's operating systems and said, you know what would be cool is if I took this, this, and this, and I'm going to make this OS. Only this OS was made before all of those, so I don't understand. I'm freaking out here a little bit because this feels like where everything we have today should get to, and but it was already there a long time ago.
Hey, now here's an interesting little tidbit. Here we brought up a little 3D demo.
Okay.
Of course, this is in VMware, so there is no 3D support. It's all software rendered. Now go to your thread manager.
All right, I'll go to my thread manager by clicking on the little CPU usage thing.
Click on that little CPU usage thing.
Okay.
Bring up your threads.
Right.
Go to the Haiku 3D
Haiku
application.
3D. All right, here I go.
Notice how many threads you've got going.
All right, so I got one app, and for one app, I've got 4 threads.
4 different threads. Now there's one render thread.
Yeah.
Go to your render thread.
And what's neat is it doesn't just list that there's a render thread. It's listing how much CPU usage
that individual thread is taking.
individual thread's taking. Yeah.
Now crank that to real-time priority.
Now is that going to hork me?
Nah.
Okay, now it's at real-time priority.
It sure as heck is. Now maximize that
Oh,
sucker.
you know what? It's actually
It's
noticeably
a heck
running
of a
better.
lot smoother. Of
It
course
is.
it is. Because you just said, I want much more of my processor time to be dedicated to this process of this application.
Huh. Now that's interesting because
This is what I'm saying.
that actually runs pretty good under VM. I was actually worried I would tank my VM session, and that's
Nope.
actually doing pretty good.
Of course not. It's Haiku. Therefore, it's awesome. It's going to be a while before we hit a point with this project where I could say, recommend this to most people. In fact, it's going to be a while before this becomes my primary desktop at home because I like to play video games. I have to develop software for a living, which
same.
means I've got to run
I'm in the IT
VMware
support,
and all this and that. But as a netbook system, I can't. We've reviewed a lot of netbook systems. We've reviewed Moblin. We've talked about Ubuntu Netbook Remix.
Jolly Cloud,
Jolly Cloud, which is
episode 1
really
of
cool.
CAS.
But to be honest, nothing. I mean, they were all kind of sluggish.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They were all a little pokey.
Yeah.
This system running on my netbook is significantly faster than Ubuntu running on my Core 2 3 gigahertz system at home. And that seems ridiculous to me, but that's just the way it is. So if you want a desktop class feeling thing, if you want to feel like you really significantly upgraded your lower end hardware or your netbook, Linux is great.
I love this
But
operating system.
Haiku blows it out of the water in terms of raw speed, stability, and, as odd as it sounds, customizability and flexibility.
You know what would be
And that
great?
it almost drives me crazy that it's so good.
This is cool.
It's unreal.
Oh, this is so. You know what would be great?
Now there are audio editing applications available.
I'm looking at it kind of like a built-in audio patch board application.
Yeah.
You know what would be really cool is if VirtualBox or somebody would come along and get support for Haiku as the host.
I want to point out that yes, it does have many Ethernet drivers and it does have networking support.
Yeah.
And that works totally fine right now.
I would love to use this as my host operating system. Because if you could take VirtualBox and get some of that multi-thread support going on, get that nice stable base, super fast.
Dude, could you imagine? Honestly, if it doesn't even matter to me if VirtualBox or VMware or one of those great virtualization solutions came out for Haiku, I would go insane.
Dude, if you had this, so I'd have like one workspace that's like all my Web 2.0 stuff, and then another workspace would be like a full-time running Linux box, and another workspace a full-time Windows box. I mean, this would be just so nice.
So nice. So, that's kind of all I really wanted to point out about this. Again, haiku-os.org. That's the website. They are, if you go there now, their website is in a quote-unquote freeze where they're getting ready for the big alpha. This is their big moment in the sun. This is the first time they're really saying, okay, the public can take a look and kick the tires of Haiku. Up until now, it's just been for true hardcore nerds who want to download and compile it themselves and things like that.
I think you just found the, I know it doesn't have Wi-Fi support, but
when it does.
I'm going to do it now. I'm going to load it on my AAA PC. I want to play with this so bad. I'm going to go Ethernet.
Why not?
This is so awesome that I have to be using this.
You have to be using it. Now, and if you look through the forums and if you look around online, you'll hear of people using their triple-E's, like the 900s and the 701s, as their primary Haiku box.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
It's really fast, even on those machines.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. It blows me away. It blows me away. And I would just like to say, this right here is one of the reasons I'm glad we're doing the Computer Action Show, because, this isn't Linux, but it's so amazing. It has to be talked about, and people aren't talking about it.
Yeah, and one of the questions that's come up in our JupyterColony.com forum is there were some questions if Haiku was video, if its graphics subsystem was based on Xorg, but there's zero GPL
this
code in this.
This is not Linux. It's not GPL'd. It's MIT, and it's totally new. It's
open source.
It's from scratch. It's fully open source. It's from scratch. But it's not Linux. It's not BSD. It is, however, POSIX compliant.
I cannot believe this is from scratch.
Which means porting Linux and BSD applications over to Haiku is not that difficult. It's going to be much easier than, say, doing it on Windows or something like that.
I'm going to have a hard time doing the rest of the show. I'm going to want to play with this.
I know it, dude. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
I highly recommend. If you are very nerdy, grab the VMware image and toy with it. But remember that it runs at about a billionth of the speed on VMware as it does on native hardware. Try out the live CD, even if you just don't install it, even if you just run off of it. It is phenomenal.
I wonder.
I got to give huge kudos. And if you've been watching any of the shows for the last year, you'll notice that my kudos are reserved. Because honestly, lately, over the last year, over the last 2 years, I felt like we've kind of stagnated. You know, like Compiz and Barrel on the Linux side. Those are very cool. Those give us great 3D effects and really push the limits. Honestly, Chrome is a good browser. Google did a good job there. There have been a couple of key points, and I love Maemo and the new N900. Those look really great. But for so many OSs, for new distros coming out, they just aren't that great. They're cool. They're like it was a year ago, only slightly better. And that's great. But this is just an open source BIOS. It's an open source version of an OS that was out over a decade ago, and it blows the barn doors off of Windows 7, off of OS 10.6, off of Ubuntu 9.10. It just blows them all away.
The Bbits website's still around. I used to go to that place to get all my software.
And you'll notice there's a Haiku section in there, and the software works, and there's drivers available for there. Bbits, BEBITS.com.
Yeah. And you know what they say?
And there's emulators and games and all
download
sorts
the
of
zip
stuff.
file and extract it in the apps folder, and it's installed.
Right.
Okay.
Beautiful. This is what I'm saying. The best parts about all the systems smashed together and clean and beautiful. I am so excited. So another big question that comes up is, what's the roadmap for this like? What's the release schedule like? When can we expect the final not alpha version? We can't. The Haiku project is very, very clear that they kind of took an old school Debian approach to this, where they're saying, you know what, guys, screw off. It's done when it's done.
Yeah.
And when we get it done, you guys will love it.
HaikuWare.com is another place to get
and they have a bounty there. If you go to haikuware.com, they have a bounty up top for Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing everyone wants.
Bounty, yep. Well, that's a great way to do it. That's a great way because,
oh yeah,
it's people that want it can put their money where their mouth is, and then somebody gets a nice little prize money.
So a couple other tidbits. So release 1 is hitting alpha this next week. Grab the alpha when it's available. I recommend just kind of waiting for the alpha, just because it's official and because it's very exciting. Right now, it's kind of hard to dig up the pre-alpha builds. You have to really search around for them. But when it should be available from haiku-os.org, you should be ready to go.
Yeah.
It is 32-bit. It is not 64-bit. Some people might say, oh, but I want to use my 8 gigs of RAM. Like we were just saying, we had everything running at 100 megs. You don't need 8 gigs of RAM.
I do wonder though, like if you put this on like a modern, like the new Linfield processor or something. I mean, just this thing would probably just be insane.
It might explode. I think the entire universe might
it would be so fast.
Itself.
Yeah, I think it would.
Like I said, I put it on my Core 2 and it was insane. I've never seen an OS run that fast.
There's some cool emulators. Some good old
Atari
emulators and the old classic Mac emulators.
Yeah, and boxes available and lots of other stuff and UAE, so you can run BIOS and emulated Amiga, which really just feels right somehow. Which, by the way, we will be talking about the open source Amiga OSs in a future episode. Now, so no 64-bit version. They say that it might come in the future, but it's not here yet.
Probably.
And it's not really. There's not really a point to it at the moment. That's not their focus.
Yeah.
And release 1, who knows when it'll come. They do have like a current thing planned for release 2. But basically, it's a brainstorming session right now, and they just want to get release 1 done and final, and strong and powerful and ready to destroy the world.
Wow, that's a goal.
It's a big goal, but honestly, I think they can do it. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. Definitely.
All right,
at
so
least
check this
check
out.
the website
All right,
out.
so just before we end this segment, just one last comment. We've got the font program running. We've got the browser running with 4 tabs open. I've got a couple of different gadgets or widgets or whatever you want to call them running on the desktop. I've got another program running that monitors the CPU that shows the logo, and plus the activity monitor. My grand total memory usage is 163 megabytes.
Yep.
And 20% CPU usage, roughly.
20% in a VMware image on a slower machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a fast computer I'm running it on, and it's
Nope.
it's
It's many years old, and it's in VMware,
This is
and you've got a bunch of
nice.
other stuff going on in the background. I know. So, if you have any questions, definitely head on over to the forums over at jupitercolony.com.
There you go,
and,
buddy.
we
Good
can
job.
talk to you about it.
Look who knows the name.
But it's very, very good. It's very, very great. Dare I say, one of the most exciting operating system projects going on right now, if not the most exciting operating system release this year. Windows 7's coming out, whatever. OS 10.6, Snow Leopard, whatever. Haiku Alpha 1. And Alpha, I would declare this Alpha as much more exciting, significantly more exciting than any of that stuff. So,
Boom.
that's what I got to say on that.
Well done, Brian. That's definitely something I'm going to be playing with. And if I get it going on the
Absolutely.
Triple E and I eventually get wireless going, I'll report back on the show.
You betcha. Do you think I reined in my fanboyishness at all?
I got all excited. I had no idea.
Open up the star chart.
That's where is that at?
Demos.
Mandelbrot?
No. Wait, maybe it's just under apps. Wait, no, demos.
Yeah.
Chart.
There it is.
Okay, it's fine. Turn animation off.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I think
Free motion, and then display. Draw bitmap or direct one, doesn't matter.
oh yeah.
Maximize that shit.
Yeah, of course I'm maximizing that.
All right, now.
0 increase in CPU usage.
Click full screen. All right.
0 increase in CPU usage.
Like nebulas and comets. Notice there's a 2 threads button there.
Yeah.
Click that.
Okay. Where
So now you just dynamically started using 2 threads instead of 1 for your processing.
where do I turn on more stuff?
That's pretty much all there is to
Oh.
it. You can change the change the like the number of stars and
I
whatnot
want
at the
comets.
top there.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I love this stuff.
ICANN has Haiku.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, so
Yeah. Okay.
let's
Let's talk about
Jeremy,
stuff.
how long are we into the audio version of the show?
116, but that first segment, it didn't go to the end, so the first 10 minutes was
Stacked. So it's really an hour 26.
How does that happen? That's never happened.
I don't know. It's just the cursor doesn't move to the end sometimes. I didn't notice until we were already recording.
Yeah, it never happens to me before. So we're at almost an hour and a half show.
Yeah, pretty much an hour and a half. Right.
Let's save this for the next episode.
Yeah, we'll save this. We'll
Yeah.
save it. We'll save it because we got to get going here. All right.
All right. So we've got a popcorn hour here.
All right, so let's start up the recording.
Wait, we're not going to give away. Are we going to do that during the recording?
Yeah.
But it might take us a while to stumble across someone.
No, I'm just going to say, I'm going to give somebody a week to contact
Oh, okay.
us. How do you want them to contact us?
Email is nice.
It's not so nice. Because
No.
I will probably never see it.
That's a good point.
I've got that. I don't get an email.
No, we're all right.
Facebook page? Or in the forum?
Carrier pigeon.
Forum.
No, they need to be able to prove it's them.
So should they have to comment on the video on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
say comment on this episode's video.
Comment on this episode's video in YouTube, and then we'll get a hold of you.
Boom.
All right. That's the way to do it.
Do you want to do a few different names and give the first one that responds of those names?
That's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, but I don't have all that. I mean, it took a long time just to get the one.
Okay.
Okay, let's do the one.
Okay. You want me to start recording again?
Yep.
Yeah, let's just do one, and then if the person doesn't claim it by the next episode, then we'll do like a bunch, and then whoever claims it first.
Okay, that sounds
That'll be
good.
easier for me to, because then by then I can have a new spreadsheet with all the stuff in there, so that'll be easier for Chris.
Okay, ready.
Red Eye, I am not quite yet, but I will be in just a second.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm ready. About to hit the button, so. You're playing with a remote.
I was going to show people the remote.
It's just going to probably key out because of the.
Oh, it's
Hold
because
up,
it's gray.
scroll up your thing. See, does it key out?
Nope.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
That's cool. All right, I'm ready when you
I'm
are,
ready.
sir.
It's already recording.
Oh, okay. All right. So I do believe that about brings us to the end of this week's broadcast, but we have one more bit of business to take care of.
Oh, I think we had a popcorn hour to give away.
Oh, we did, didn't
Popcorn
we?
hour, which is like that little media center tank, Brian. It
Oh, the
plays
media
all
center
kinds
that
of
could. It
formats.
plays like every format on the planet. Here's the video people. Yeah, you can see the remote
Yeah.
still wrapped in plastic.
I mean, you did open it to show them the remote. but
yeah. Well, I opened the box.
You didn't open the remote.
I didn't open the remote, and I didn't open
Okay,
anything
so
else.
let's get into it because I know the show's getting long here. So the contest was we were going to pick randomly from our list of subscribers, and the person that we will be matched up to a number, and then that number is going to be picked out as that person's username, and then we'll announce you all here on the show. And then the way you have to confirm that it's you is we'll need you to comment in this episode's YouTube video
Yep.
because you obviously have a YouTube account, right?
Right. And
So-
if you don't do it before the next episode, well, to start with, you're lame.
Yeah.
That's
and-
part one.
And so we don't. So that way, by the time the next episode comes out, we're going to in the next episode, if it hasn't been claimed, we're going to draw a large number of names.
Yep.
And if the large number of names, someone from that list will obviously have a better chance of listening to that particular episode, and then we'll give it away. There's also coming up, we're giving away a Kodak ZI-8 camera
Oh,
when
yeah.
we hit 6,000 subscribers to the YouTube channel.
Pretty exciting. And we've had some requests to sign the Popcorn Hour. We're going to leave that up to whoever wins it. If you win it and you want us to sign it, say so, and we will sign our Hancocks to it.
All right.
It's very fancy.
Okay.
But yeah, and again, if this does not get won, if you do not comment within the next 2 weeks before the next episode, we will draw many more names from the hat, and basically the first one to comment will be the winner. So you know.
And I am clicking the generate button now, and the number is
Beep, boop, boop, beep,
124,
beep, doop, doop, doop.
which on my spreadsheet is B. Williams 2020. B. Williams 2020, you've just won a popcorn hour.
Williams 2020. All right. So if you know B. Williams 2020 or you are B. Williams 2020, get busy. Get signing into YouTube and comment and say, that's my popcorn hour, give it.
If you're not B. Williams 2020, well then you got to bank on the fact that B. Williams 2020 isn't going to contact us, and you could always win the Kodak ZI-8, which is a fantastic camera
Yeah.
that I did a review on, which is over on the YouTube
Popcorn
channel.
hour is really cool, but that Kodak camera
I
is just
know.
really straight up pimping.
That's
is
a
what
great
that
one.
is.
So,
it's straight up pimping.
If you didn't win the popcorn hour, then you better hope that B. Williams 2020 has fallen off the face of the earth. I wouldn't wish for him, though.
I think people in the chat room right now already do.
They are. They're worked up.
Son of a F, mother FF. You guys just have the naughtiest mouths, everybody.
All right. Well, B. Williams 2020, we hope to hear from you soon. That is the popcorn hour giveaway.
Okay.
All right, now let's do the actual end and then the intro.
Somebody changed their name to B. Williams 2020 in the chat room.
What do you know? All right.
That's great.
Whoever did that is awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like whoever did that should just get it. All right.
All right. You ready to wrap this thing up?
Oh, I'm totally ready.
Jeremy,
What?
you ready to wrap this thing up?
What? Yeah.
Okay, that actually brings us to the end of this week's broadcast.
You betcha, Brian. Now,
Oh,
I
good
did
times.
say at the top of the show we'd have a MiFi review.
But the show just got
Got
too
real
long.
long, so I'm going to push it to next
we
week.
got talky
That'll
with
give
our
me,
words.
That'll
and
give me
whatnot.
extra time with it. But so far, I'm liking it.
It's kind of cool looking. It's tiny.
It's great.
It's tiny. We'll talk.
It
We'll talk
is-
about
it
that
is
in 2 weeks.
Really freaking small, like small, way smaller than I thought it was. But anyways, so we'll cover that in the next episode of the Computer Action Show, and including performance, because by then I'll take it in more places too, so I can get a little better performance numbers.
For sure.
All
That's
right,
awesome.
Brian, I wanted to mention to people that if they want to support the show, there's of course the GoDaddy sponsorship.
Oh, there certainly is.
We also have on the right-hand side of JupiterBroadcasting.com, we have a one-time donation, and also if you are so obliged and want to help support
And you might be.
the continued production of Jupiter Broadcasting shows, you can contribute monthly based on those links.
Whoa.
And we really appreciate that. And then, of course, one last thing is we do have pretty much all of the gear we use to produce these shows over in our store, and you can find a link to that right at the top, very, very, very top of Jupiter Broadcasting.
The tippity top, as some might call it.
And if you'd like to get a hold of us, well, you can hit us up on our new Facebook page. That's like facebook.com/something/something.
I think it's / Jupiter Broadcasting.
It doesn't work.
No?
I don't know. I'm
I don't
Facebook dumb, I guess. But
It's linked to somewhere.
It's linked right on the front page of Jupiter Broadcasting, right underneath where our
How
RSS feeds
handy
are.
is that?
I know, right?
I love technology today.
Plus, you've got JupiterColony.com where you can interact with the community in our
That's
forum.
an online forum.
In our forum that's currently undergoing some
Wow.
work.
Yeah, it's undergoing some work. It's kind of, what's the word? Foobard.
It is. I got
but-
the support specialist on it, though.
But feel free to hop in there. Your messages are safe, so go ahead and hop in there and have a good time.
Yes, very much so.
Pleasant.
And, of
Pleasant.
course, you can hit us up on the Twitter or Identica. I am twitter.com or identica.ca/ChrisLAS.
And I am just Brian Lunduke, all one word.
You got it.
Everywhere.
And, of
I'm there on
course,
Facebook.
you gotta
I'm there
give-
on Twitter.
You got to
I'm
give
just
some
everywhere.
love to Jeremy, who's running the forward, running the system.
You do.
He is twitter.com/JBJeremy.
For Jupiter Broadcasting, Jeremy.
And so I think that pretty much
I
wraps
think-
up this episode.
Well, I think that does cover it, Chris.
Yeah. Congratulations to B. Williams 2020.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go now and play with Haiku, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to do for at least the next 3 hours.
All right, everybody. Well, until the next episode of the Computer Action Show, which will be in a fortnight, we'll talk to you then.
Later, everybody. Everybody needs some, but sometimes.
Everybody.
Everybody needs some. Well, somehow. Well, we still got it in the video, right? Haha.
In the Ustream one, yeah.
Hey, that's
All right.
all that matters. People loves us, the video. Man, I love that background we got rocking today.
Yeah, you like that one?
It is just pretty.
Did you see the one I see this?
What am I supposed to be looking at here?
For when you're recording these.
Oh, I like that. Nintendo. Nintendo!
The only thing is, I don't know if that's copyrighted.
It is.
And we can't
The Nintendo NES controller cannot be used.
do advertising if it's
Yeah, take that off.
All right, I'll get something.
Well, it's kind of already happened.
Oops. It's all right. It's all right.
It's dumb things you have to worry about.
It really is.
But it's an artist rendition of the Nintendo controller.
So maybe it's fine.
I think it might be fine.
I think it might be fine, but don't use it
But
anyway.
yeah,
Let's
I'll-
just be safe.
That's why I actually had it loaded up, and I'm like, I can't use this. 'Cause that's what I was gonna make.
I think you're allowed to use like really short snippets like that. But like I don't think you can do it for more than like 20 seconds
well,
or
it's
something
quickly
like that.
to review that Nintendo controller, and then it's fair use. So the thing about that,
I
NES
love the old
controller-
Nintendo controller.
The old Nintendo controller,
It's square.
simplistic but very effective, and obviously it's designed that has
And
been inspired.
when you hold it a certain way, it leaves lines in your hands.
Yeah.
Remember those lines?
Oh, dude, the
Dude.
Nintendo hand lines.
And
yeah, I
man, it
remember those.
really just hurts your thumb after a while. that stupid D-pad. Loved it so much. All right, Chris is sitting over here writing up the. Okay, I like the shark. Oh, that's beautiful.
Watch out, Brian! Watch out!
Oh, hey everybody. Oh my God, it's a shark! Yeah, it's good times. Yep. Hey, where'd the shark go? And the shark is gone. We've lost the shark. Chris is writing up my intro right now. As he does every day, he's using his wizardry with words to come up with some sort of over-the-top intro that will no doubt have at least 3 grammatical errors and 2 words that are used 3 times too often.
Then we can't help ourselves but love all over the microphone for every little thing haiku. Does that work?
We can give it a try.
You don't like that?
No, why not? We can give it a try. I'll tell you what.
No, if you
it's-
don't like it, I'll just delete the whole thing.
Damn
right
it,
now.
Chris!
I'll delete the
Damn
whole
it!
thing.
No, it should be fine.
Okay. All right, I'll use
Yeah,
that.
we'll go with that. All right, they're talking in Spanish now.
What?
It's just not cool, you guys.
That is
Here's the
freaking
thing: is we don't know what you're saying. We don't know. Oh yeah. It's cool. It's cool. The only two Colombians ever in our chat room right now. That's who we've got. It's pretty awesome. There's only two Colombians according to them.
I like what I just went. I like where I just thought of something, and I'm like, I like the direction of that.
Speak in Australian, please, mate. That's what they. Wait. Oi, get me a Foster's.
It's Quimby again.
It's Quimby. It's always Quimby. It always goes to Quimby.
Oh, dude, that's the only accent that exists is Mayor Quimby. Oh, I could use a beer right now. The planet behind me is exploding. It's very frightening. See, it's Quimby.
All right, Brian. Let me make this.
Put another shrimp on the barbie. See, it works though. You'd think, oh, at least you recognize that I'm trying to do Australian, right?
All right, how's that read to you?
You don't? I see. Oh. Do you save in the Dropbox or something?
Yeah, I did actually.
I'll just do that then.
This week on the Computer Action Show, we give you a news roundup that is so full.
I'm gonna go like this. Recently changed files.
let me update
text
it one more time.
file. Oh,
It
good.
is so packed full. All right. Now, if you get that update, you'll have it.
Got it. I love Dropbox.
Then, hold on. Then we. Oh, hold on. I'm going to close it. I'm going to make one more change. Now that I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking?
Oh, it's difficult.
All right.
Got it?
Yeah. You should have it now.
It's syncing.
Because it's instantaneous.
It pretty much is.
Dang near is, really.
I love Dropbox. All right, this week on the Computer Action Show, we give you a news roundup that is so packed full of gadgets, you will freak out.
You want to change it to you will?
I got it. I'll just save it in there. You will freak out. Then we bring the action all over our microphone for every little thing that is all over. I'll add that.
God.
S for every little thing that is haiku.
You don't want to get this on video, right?
No, this is fine. What?
No, I don't know. I don't know a good way to do those intros in the main
Plus,
video. So
we give away a popcorn hour and so much more. All right. All right, you guys, I'm ready for this. You want to hit the
Just audio only on
record
this
button on
part.
this one?
Brian's gonna one take.
Are we
this
still
sucker.
are we still streaming?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
I thought it would take longer and I wasn't prepared. Now I'm prepared. Are you prepared?
Yeah, we're ready. Let's
Yeah,
go. He's gonna
whatever.
one take it.
Whatever, guys.
It's one take time.
Ah! Now that I'm all phlegmy, this should go perfect. Ready? This week on the Computer Action Show, we give you a news roundup that is so packed full of gadgets you will freak out. Then we bring the action all over our microphones for every little thing that is haiku. Plus, we give away a popcorn hour and so much more. Oh, this week on the Computer Action Show. How'd that feel?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Did you
I
like
thought.
that, Jeremy?
I like that.
I don't know. Wasn't sure if I felt that one. Chat room, how'd you guys feel? What was that?
I'm afraid that might have gotten clippy. I even turned you down before.
Did I get too clippy? Sergey says, Brian, that was gay. So, okay. Some people like it. Some too loud. Did it get clippy?
Brian, this week on the Computer Action Show.
I can redo.
You want to do one more, Jeremy?
Yeah, we'll try one more.
One more.
One more. Am I turned down a little bit? All right. Let's do a test real quick.
Now who's failing?
Hold on. This week on the Computer Action Show.
Yeah, except for you
Am
do
I
it
still
loud.
too clippy?
No, you do it louder than that. Oh, he turned you down.
I turned you down. So
This week on the Computer Action Show. Is that? Am I okay there? All right.
Do it once. Say this week on Linux Action Show once for the people in the chat room. They want you to say Linux.
This week on the Linux Action Show.
All right.
Oi, this week on the Linux Action Show, everything changes. We should do a Mayor Quimby action show.
No.
All this news is only interesting to me, Mayor Quimby. All right. Are we recording?
Yeah, let's go. Are you?
We already are?
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This week on the Computer Action Show, we give you a news roundup that is so packed full of gadgets you will freak out. Then we bring the action all over our microphones for every little thing that is Haiku. Plus, we give away a popcorn hour and so much more. Oh, this week on the Computer Action Show. How'd that feel, Jeremy?
That was good. I was specifically
Did
good.
you like that one? What do you
Yeah.
think, chat room? We taking that one?
Yeah, we're taking that one, I think. Right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yep,
Better.
yep, there you
Good.
go, there you go.
Was it gay? Was it gay? Anyone tell me this one was gay?
Sergey!
Sir-
We need our gay report. ASAP.
Yeah. Was it gay, Sergey?
The gay really
Oh,
came
good.
through.
Angry Bomber. Gay really came through.
Angry
It was
Bomber.
sort of gay. It made me happy. Yeah, it was kind of gay. All right.
Nice. Mission accomplished.
Oh.
So it's late for everybody.
Rainbows, feather bows, and
It's
ghost
late for
wings. I
everybody
like
at this
that.
point, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. I gotta get home. I gotta all sorts of stuff to do.
Yeah, you
all
do.
sorts
Yeah,
of
you
stuff to
do.
do. Yeah. Going fishing this weekend, and got a pack.
Playing Champions Online.
Oh, shut up. I hate you. Jeremy says he's playing video games all weekend.
Dude, we're gonna be fishing.
I know, but I still like to play video games, too. I just want to fish and play video games.
Ooh, that does sound good. Fishing video games. Thanks again for everyone for joining us. And we're gonna take off now, but this was fun.